It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Incidentally, the very first movie that I stole off a torrent site was Man of Steel. It's true. I've
That's
reformed
actually
since then.
that's actually funny because you remember that.
Excuse me.
I do remember it because it's the
Because it
first time
happened
I got to
yesterday.
it. Great movie.
It is a
Like
very
the first
good
movie I store off a torrent site, Man of Steel wasn't even thought of yet. it wasn't even in the conceptual phase.
Well,
They were still trying to figure out how to brand Nick Cage as Superman.
Yeah.
slow to get things done, but I did it. It was brand new. It was still in the theaters when I did it. So,
Wow, look at you admitting to theft.
hey, well, that was a long time ago. I've reformed.
Steve, you know, I often see movies that are in the theaters in special theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, where, you know, I can pause the movie and it's an
Yeah, so
amazing
do I.
it's an amazing theater.
Oh, Steve frequents those theaters as well.
I do every day. I don't
Where
watch
you control if the lights are on or off.
His come with peep booths.
No, not that kind of theater.
His kids come with a guy in the stall next door that goes, psst.
Yeah. His comes with foot tappers.
Steve swears he's just got a wide stance, Matt.
What are these holes in the wall for?
Maybe I'll stick my cock through it. I've never
Who's
done
bored?
that before.
Wrong kind of movies.
All right. Now that we've fucking done that enough. Steve.
Yeah.
Are you ready now?
Uh-huh.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because I don't think this is a subject you're going to be very well versed in, Steve.
No?
I'm concerned.
Well, we'll find out.
All right.
What subjects am I well versed in?
You
Just
see, dude,
saying.
you open yourself wide for this fucking for the barrage of shit we can say.
I know.
Internet reselling?
Well, there you go. That is a subject I'm sort of well versed in, yes.
Nice softball.
And driftwood art.
Anyway.
Start the damn thing.
Steve, I will do what I'm going to do when I'm going to do it.
All right.
You know, I mean, Christ, your wife leaves the room and you think you're entitled.
Hey, remember what we talked about.
All right. All right. Let me compose myself, Steve. This is the Fortean Slip, episode 65. Modern horror is child's play. Welcome to the show. Steve?
Yeah.
You don't know much about horror movies, do you?
I'm not a big fan.
No? But you have seen some.
A few.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure you've seen the new It, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you saw the...
No, I watched the old It. I didn't watch the new one.
You haven't watched the new one yet?
No.
I thought you had seen that one. But you said you saw Bird Box.
I did not see Bird Box. Matt saw Bird Box.
Matt saw Bird Box.
I saw Bird Box.
I'm getting fucking confused, Steve, in my old age. Let me know when I need to be committed, Steve.
How long ago did we start this show?
Yeah.
6 years?
Almost.
There you go.
We're getting there. Joining us for, this is like fucking what, 4 or 5 weeks in a row now, Steve?
Holy fuck.
The
MVP.
Bigfoot expert. I'm just going to say Bigfoot expert.
Say whatever you want.
And fucking, he's a psychic.
Okay.
I am now convinced that psychics exist because of Matt Knapp. Before that, I thought it was all bullshit. Complete bullshit. Uri Geller, all that shit.
Yeah.
Matt Knapp destroys them all. Fucking the amazing Randy can't touch Matt Knapp.
Can't touch me.
Well, now
that's because Matt is not gay, but
Didn't Randy had the $1 million prize, but now it's kind of off the table since, isn't he dead?
I
Randy
don't know
dead
if he
yet?
passed away yet or not. I know they released the documentary about him.
Which was good. Very good.
Yeah, a few years back. And yeah, it's a great documentary if you haven't seen it. But yeah, I wanted to look at, because I've always been a huge fan when I was younger of horror movies. And then I kind of fell out of it. Mostly because they just didn't do anything for me anymore. I couldn't find anything that really captivated my attention when I was watching it. I'd watch these movies, and I think like it got to a point where I saw like Saw. Saw was good.
Oh, I've seen that.
And then, the evolution of that movie series. And then I kind of fell out of it, and I'm kind of back into it again. And a lot of the big reason for that is my son's at that age where he's into horror movies, which is kind of cool because I get to introduce him to all kinds of different genre of horror movies. But, if I'm going to go back to the very first horror movie that really grabbed me, and it's more of a science fiction movie, but I consider it a horror movie. It's fucking Alien. Which, Steve, you said you just watched the other day.
I watched part of it yesterday, yeah. With
Just
the wife.
how do you not watch
How do you turn that movie off and walk away without
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I thought it was long and drawn out. I came in and I finished up Voyager instead.
What? Are you sure we're talking about the same Alien movie?
Yes.
Matt, I want you to understand. He eats fish sticks and shit that you can put in the microwave. It's all
like shit you make for kids when you're babysitting.
Yeah, Steve is very simple.
Here, eat your pizza rolls and be quiet.
That's right.
I have a freezer full of pizza rolls. Popcorn shrimp. Those microwavable pretzels.
Cheeseburgers.
There's some of those in it.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Do you still get like the TV dinners in the foil containers, Steve?
I would. I love those things. The brownie was the best.
Shit. But yeah, I can remember renting that movie. God, I was around like 7 or 8. And my parents didn't pay much attention to what I would rent from the video store.
Probably not.
Hurry up and pick something out.
Right, and so I
Alien,
and I think it was around the same time that I rented Close Encounters. This means something. But yeah, I mean, Alien was just one of those definite horror movies. Like that, it was done very Hitchcock style. You didn't see much of the creature. It was all just kind of build up, and that movie just, oh God.
I mean, it's benchmark for horror.
Yeah, it is so crazy good. Like it holds up amazingly to this day. It's one of those movies that you can watch today, and even though like the computer shit is all a little dated, the movie still holds up. And
until they start messing with it.
Until what?
Until they start messing with it.
Yeah. I mean, you get to. I like Aliens. I liked the direction that Cameron went with it with that. But after that, I mean, just. And then I thought that Prometheus and Alien Covenant, did a good job. I mean, they aren't fabulous movies, but they're good movies.
Well, I think they fleshed out the story.
Yeah.
And showed that, this whole thing is more than just this scary alien that has a mouth that comes out of the other mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I didn't see the original Alien yesterday. I watched the second one.
Oh, Jesus.
That would be Aliens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, whatever it was.
So you didn't know what was going on at all.
In 10 minutes, he's going to go, yeah, I didn't watch Aliens.
No,
I actually watched Critters, too.
Gremlins. It's about as horror gets for me as Gremlins.
That's it, huh?
Just not into
Oh,
it.
my bad. It was Monster Inc. 3.
Yeah.
No, it was the second one.
Toy
Sigourney
Story.
Weaver.
Mike Wazowski.
Oh, the second one with Sigourney Weaver.
The first one was good. Whatever.
Huh?
Well, no, she was in the first
Steve,
one
how
too.
confused are you right now?
I don't know.
That's our whole point. I mean, you're just making it for us.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
That's right.
It was all right.
The first horror movie that did it for me, though, was Jaws. That one was rough for me.
Jaws I didn't see until later. But like I was scared of Jaws by all the hype around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Jaws is a great horror flick that shouldn't have worked.
But
Like if you look into like the history of the making of that film, like they were wrought with just problem after problem. You know, they couldn't get the mechanical shark to work, and you know, so they wound up fucking just doing a lot of shots from under the water at people's legs, but it worked.
Well, see, if I remember correctly, the actual first Jaws movie I saw was Jaws 3. And I remember this because
you know what? You're absolutely right. The first one I saw was Jaws 3, or as it's known, Jaws 3D.
Yeah, but I saw it on like cable television, so there was no red and blue glasses.
You didn't have any glasses?
No, but like I was staying the night over at my grandmother's place, and she lived in an apartment complex. So the only thing to do over there was like swim in the swimming pool. And after watching that movie, I was bound and determined that if I was in the swimming pool alone, the end of the pool was going to open up a secret trap door and a shark was going to swim into the swimming pool.
Oh, dude. I was literally, my grandparents had a house on a lake, and we spent our summers up there. And I got to a point where, I mean, I'd still swim because I loved swimming, but I was just like petrified all the time.
Well, I imagine so. I mean,
because you got one of those cousins that goes, "Hey, you know, bull sharks can be in freaking fresh water, right?"
Yeah. Hey, you know, Jaws was filmed right down the street here. Like you grew up in Jaws Central. I mean,
yeah,
the movie was based on there.
Yeah, up in this area. But yeah, and I think, was it you that I was talking to recently, Matt, about the Lake Placid shit?
No.
Okay.
Yes, maybe.
So I remember watching this movie, and Lake Placid is one of those bad, good horror comedy movies. It's just like I really enjoyed Lake Placid.
It's like taking, Ready Whip straight from the can.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then doing a whippet afterwards.
Yeah.
I remember my first whippet too.
And he wonders why he saw something jump across the road.
I was 4.
No, actually, I was 24, maybe.
I remember my first cigarette. Mom gave it to me when I was 3. In the Alcorn family.
No, my mother.
It was a rite of passage.
So anyway, to get back on track, Jesus Christ. So Lake Placid, I remember watching that film, and that film takes place in Maine. And
where in Maine?
Lake Placid.
On Lake Placid. Lake Placid. Jesus Christ, I can't even talk.
Lake Placid.
Lake Placid.
I thought Lake Placid was in New York.
Steve, shut up.
It's a movie, Steve.
It's not even a real place, Steve. They don't have a Dairy, Maine, Steve. It doesn't exist.
I'm going to Castle Rock for vacation.
Are you? Where are you booking your hotel?
It is in New York.
Steve, it's a movie.
Well, why wouldn't they just base it on the real Lake Placid?
Steve, it's a movie. Anyway, it takes place in Maine. And this alligator is in a lake. It's a huge fucking alligator. And Was it an alligator or a crocodile? Jesus Christ, I can't remember. It was an alligator. Okay, so the big question about this thing, they're all like, well, how can the thing survive through the winter? And one of the things that's brought up as well, they could always, if they make sure their noses are above the water line before it freezes, then they could survive. And everybody's like, yeah, right. And I was of the school, I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit. They just said that for the fucking movie. And then, recently we have these news reports when they get the cold snaps down in the southern parts of the United States, that's how the alligators were surviving. It's like, that's some crazy ass shit. That makes me scared about being in a lake now.
I want to change my answer.
Yeah, no shit. I'd like to say I'm going to shit myself in the lake this evening. But yeah, so anyway. And when we were younger, the big thing about these horror movies, because we mentioned Jaws 3, which wound up being like Jaws how many? Fucking
yeah, they're still going.
Yeah, no kidding. Jaws the Revenge with Michael Caine.
Yeah, chases the woman down. How did he? She was in an airplane.
What the fuck?
He's in the Bahamas.
So, and then you have movies like, the Friday the 13th series.
The slasher films.
The Nightmare on Elm Street movies. The Halloween movies. Which I have two favorite horror movies of all time. And I actually consider the first and second Halloween movie, the originals, not the remakes, by the way, to be one movie. It all takes place over the course of one night.
Halloween?
Yeah. So, that would be Halloween, Matt. No, they switched it to Christmas just for the goof.
That would be a good goof.
It would be better if it was like Easter or something.
Right. He is risen. So anyway, my two favorite horror movies are Halloween, which, like I said, I consider Halloween and Halloween 2 to be one film, even though they're two. And this is like a total offshoot one, which most people won't know about, is In the Mouth of Madness, which is also a John Carpenter film.
Wow.
Yeah. Love In the Mouth of Madness. Which
That's a good one.
Which, by the way, features a young Hayden
Kevin
Christensen.
Costner. Oh.
For literally like fucking maybe a minute in the film. Because like when I saw like his credits, like I was like, into the whole Star Wars prequels at first, because I was like holding on to hope that they would somehow pull it out of their ass. And I was like, oh, Hayden Christensen was in that movie. And it's like literally just like a little blip. He's a kid on a bike. But I loved that film. And that film is not a great film. It's just, for me, it was awesome. I like the whole premise. So if anybody hasn't seen it, I completely fucking ruined this for you. So if you don't want to listen to this, shut off.
All right. I'll be back.
Yeah. Bye, Steve. So
goodbye, Steve.
In the Mouth of Madness is about this insurance investigator.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
not to interrupt you.
Yeah. No.
But like, even if Steve listens to your description, he'll still have to watch the movie 20 times and eventually give up because he just won't understand it.
Right.
You don't give me much credit.
No, this is how the movie works.
So, and he gets hired to go in search of an author who writes horror novels, all based in like this one area in New England. And it's a fictional place, and he's tasked to find him because he's missing, and then he's supposed to have a book drop, and they don't know where he is, and this guy makes fucking tons of money, and It's crazy. But the movie starts out with like a guy going insane and trying to kill people at one of these book releases of this guy's book releases.
Do you read Sutter Kane?
Do you read Sutter Kane? So basically what happens in the movie is they wind up finding this fictional place. He pieces it together from like the book covers. It winds up being a map to how to get to Hobbs End. And it's very Lovecraft. It's very much like Lovecraft stories. There's a lot of that Cthulhu-based mythology in it. And eventually what you find out is that this guy, Sutter Kane, is basically writing reality. So like all this story that you've been a part of, he's like in the process of writing. He wrote this guy, and this guy is coming to grips with the fact that he's a fictional character. And it, actually, I forgot. I totally spaced this. It actually begins with him in an insane asylum, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think
The
so.
very beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. The end and then until.
Yeah, and then they bring it back around, and it totally makes you forget about it too. When the first time I watched it, I completely spaced it, and even in retelling the story, I totally forgot about it. But it is such a great movie, and it's one of the reasons why my favorite color is blue. Is that movie? And it's when the insurance guy, who's played by I can't think of his name right now, Matt. Sam Neill.
Jurassic Park.
Sam Neill. God damn it. Why did it take me a second? He's on a bus with Sutter Kane, and he's asking him if he's God, and all these different questions. And the author looks at him and he goes, "Did I ever tell you that my favorite color was blue?" And then it switches the whole scene to like a blue wash. And I
reality.
Yeah, and I so fucking love that. It is not, like I said, it's not a great movie. It's not one of those movies where you're going to be like, "Oh, that was the best movie," but I love it. I personally love it. Just all the different references like to Lovecraft and all the different, just like, it has different stuff within the movie. So it's not just one thing, it's all kinds of different things, which I liked. But yeah, and then as I got older, like when I got into my son's age, I started looking back at movies, like Puppet Master.
Yeah.
Fucking Puppet Master. Who didn't like Puppet Master? Come on.
Reanimator. Were you into that?
I never saw Reanimator. Never saw it.
I mean, there was a whole like basically there was a period of time whenever we were kids.
Yep.
Where like basically B horror movies became popular.
Oh, they became huge.
The direct-to-video release,
Yep.
like
we would go to the video store back when there were video stores, kids. And
these magical places where you could rent a movie.
Let's go in the Wayback Machine. And we would go to the video store and come home with like 6 horror movies and just all night long watch horror movies at a friend's house. It was just awesome. And you see so many movies. Oh, somebody in the Chubbs in the chat room just brought up Silver Bullet, one of my favorite horror movies as a kid.
Cycle of the Werewolf.
Yes, that is a Stephen King novella.
Speaking on that, American Werewolf in London was one of the first movies I saw in the horror genre that really grabbed a hold of me and never let go. Yeah, I still love that movie.
Is it genre or genre?
It depends on how you want to say it, Steve.
Yeah.
I like genre. That sounds better.
Yeah. French. Could you say origin for us?
Is it niche or niche?
Yeah, it depends on how you want to say it. Origin. How's that?
See now. Now for me, I didn't see American Werewolf in London until later. So for me, when I was younger, it was Silver Bullet. No, I loved that fucking movie. But that whole. Do you remember the TV show that was on Fox, Werewolf?
Yes.
Oh,
With the werewolf hunter. Of course
fucker.
I remember it.
God damn.
I was a little kid staying at my aunt's house in Kansas for 2 weeks during the summer, and I watched that TV show. It was like they had it syndicated up there somehow. I watched the crap out of it. Maybe I
Yeah.
was there longer than 2 weeks. I don't know.
That's
But
something.
that's where I discovered it. Like,
Probably dated as fuck.
oh yeah,
But I'd love to find it.
oh yeah, it's wonderful, dude. It's wonderful.
What was it called?
This is what's great about doing like a
Werewolf.
show like this, is that I just remembered Werewolf.
Yeah.
So yeah, and there was this whole time like when werewolf movies went through, and then vampire movies went through. We've had these ebbs and flows with horror movies, and some have been really, really great.
Well, obviously I can't say the last round because in my opinion, the most recent round has gone back to monsters, but before that you had hauntings, and possessions, and then before that was the whole zombie craze.
Yes.
Where zombies all of a sudden just became a thing that everybody loved.
Which eventually gave us zombie TV.
Right.
Which is totally different, by the way, if you ask me, than a zombie horror movie.
Yes.
It focuses way more on the people and less on the monster and the horror of that. While still, holding on to some of that horror.
I'm glad the vampire phase is over. That was
horrible. All right.
It will be back.
Yeah, it always comes back, Steve.
Sometimes it comes back.
Now, here's a movie that never did it for me when it came out, and a lot of people loved it, was Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah, wasn't really feeling it.
I could not stand that movie. The way it was filmed on sound sets and just ugh.
I don't like really any of the remakes that I can think of the classic horror stories.
By the way, I just, not that I have a jailbroken Fire Stick or anything, but if you were to happen to have one and have Morph TV, you can find Werewolf on Morph.
Thank you.
Hey, by the way, you can also find Teen Wolf. So there you
go. Oh, which by the way is not as important to me.
Yeah, completely different realm.
Yeah.
I mean, even what was that? I mean, I think it was just called. Man, I might be wrong. Wolf. The Wolfman story with Benicio del Toro and.
I believe that was called Wolfman.
And Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
And I was so looking forward to that movie, and
what
the
a
makeup
bag of shit.
The makeup was great.
Yep.
But they just fell short. And I felt like they did that with, Dracula. Interview with a Vampire was another one that I just like, really?
I see.
And I actually see. I'll take issue with that. Interview with a Vampire is one of my favorite vampire movies.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. And I like how it is more about them, because it's focused on the actual vampires, and they're at the whole dynamic they have, and I love like Kirsten Dunst. For all of her fucking flaws, there are scenes in that movie that I absolutely loved her performance. Like when she fucking comes up off of that fucking drinking the blood and she's like, I want some more.
Yeah, but she was like 10.
Right. But it worked for me.
I just wasn't into that whole
homoerotic.
See,
Tom Cruise.
I wasn't going to say that.
You didn't
word.
like that? That didn't give you a little chubby there, Matt?
Well, like to me, that's why the movie was made. It was like somebody came up with the idea to remake that movie, and then they're like, "I know who we can have in it," and like, let's just go with the two top A-list, sex symbols in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
No, I did really like that movie. I thought it was great, but Yeah.
Well, you're not perfect, Chris. You
I know. I'm not, man. I have my flaws. And I will admit them. And Interview with the Vampire. I don't know that it's one of my flaws, but I do like it. So, but yeah, I mean, I've fallen into these patterns that have come out in movies, and you brought up the whole idea of the hauntings.
Mhm.
And the thing that bothered me about that whole string of movies that came through was like The Ring. That
Yeah.
whole, like, I don't know how you describe that film.
Japanese horror flicks that have become Americanized.
Yeah, but it was the way that the girl in the well moved and was
Oh, the
filmed.
herky jerky.
Yeah, it was I hated it. And
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Oh, it's just such a great show. It's such a great movie, and you got to check it out." And I'm all right. So I sat down and watched it, and I hated it.
You know what's actually funny about that movie is that prior to the movie, they really did send out promo video cassettes.
Oh, really?
And that guy that I know that owns a comic book store got one. Apparently, a lot of comic book store owners, for instance, got it, and movie theaters and stuff like that. And it didn't say what it was or anything.
Mhm.
I mean, I think at the end of the tape, or maybe at the beginning, they had like the production company's name or whatever, so you knew it was a movie. But otherwise, it just came with like like a typed up letter. It seems maybe stuck onto the cassette tape, and like it was just viral marketing at a
Mhm.
very early
And,
stage.
well, before that, Blair Witch.
Yes, Blair Witch scared
Blair
the piss
Witch.
out of me.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing about the Blair Witch. I got caught up in the hype of the Blair Witch. Like, I literally thought it was a real thing.
Me too.
I saw the promo stuff that they put on about how it was like a found VHS tape or whatever. These kids had, and I bought into it at first, and then I was like, and then my mind started going click, 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 and I was like, oh fuck.
Oh, we'll see.
But when I watched the movie, I was like, why does everybody like this? I mean, I kind of got it, but in a way, but I was just like, this is not as good as everybody's making it out to be. Now, interesting side note to this whole thing that I did not like the original Blair Witch. I did not ever watch the Blair Witch 2, by the way.
Well, be happy that you didn't.
But I did watch the new Blair Witch.
Oh, see, I didn't watch that one.
Okay, and I saw it, and I was like, fuck it, I'll check it out. I was just like, it was just a curiosity thing, because I checked out the trailer, and I was like, all right. I'll give it a shot.
I gotta say something here.
Oh, God.
You pick on me for saying origin, but you've said saw wrong at least 4 times in this episode.
It's his accent.
I don't care. That's my accent.
Origin is not part of your accent.
No. Anyway, thanks for derailing me, Steve.
Hey,
So
well,
I
that's what
see this.
do.
I see this movie. Shut up. I see this movie, the new Blair Witch, and it's about the brother of the girl from the original film, and how he's looking for his sister, and how that plays out. And I absolutely loved it. It still
Really?
had, yeah, it still had the filmed by them feel, but it was a little better, because
Which started a whole thing.
right. And I really enjoyed it. I did not think I was going to. It was literally just a curiosity thing. I sat down, watched it one night, and I was like, wow. I was pretty impressed with it.
Okay, well, here's the deal. There is a point in my life where I had a medical accident.
Okay.
And I ended up in ICU and was in a coma for like 24 hours. Hooked up to life support. It was a traumatic event in my life. It was a traumatic event in my life. I actually was on machines for 7 minutes. Like, couldn't live on my own. Anyways, so while I'm in the hospital, I end up being there for like 2 weeks. I knew that the Blair Witch was coming out. And I had been wanting to see that movie. So first thing I do after I get out of the hospital, I mean, I'm not even healed up yet. I've still got like bandages on and shit. I make my friend take me to see the Blair Witch. And we go, and the theater was still filled up. So like the only seats we could get were like in the front row. So like, you know, the breakneck seats.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there, and dude, I mean, I don't know how many Percocet I had taken. Like, I was fucking loaded. Okay. And I sat there in a fucking pilled out haze watching the Blair Witch. I didn't move. I didn't say anything. I don't even think I blinked until after the credits had completely finished rolling.
Matt, I want you to know that I did the same thing, but I was not in a coma or in the hospital that week.
The first thing I said, I looked over at my friend Bill and I said, "Why the hell did you let me watch this movie?" Now, in my mind, being a paranormal enthusiast my entire life,
mm-hmm.
and being high on Percocet, I connected the Blair Witch to the Bell Witch.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm telling you guys, I know it seems like hype, but this is real. This is a real thing. It's been historically documented. And it wasn't, you know, until like
You went right down the fucking rabbit hole.
I went right down the hole, dude. And I like got home and I'm like, you know, on the internet, like looking it up. And I was like, oh, the Bell Witch, not the Blair Witch.
Right.
And then
And they made and they did make those connections too.
Yeah, they
to
did.
the Bell Witch, which was really interesting. And I, you know, some of the stuff that they've done with horror, I've absolutely loved it. You know, it's been a love-hate thing over the years. But like I said, finding it again has been interesting because I've watched a lot of older stuff, and I've also watched a lot of newer stuff. Like I checked out, which I hadn't checked out, The Conjuring.
Yeah,
And
those are good movies.
I haven't watched any of the other ones that are related to it, like The Conjuring 2 or Annabelle or any of that. You know, I know a lot about the stories. But I enjoyed The Conjuring. But with The Conjuring and stuff like that, that's, you know, Amityville, that's kind of based on the Ed and Lorraine Warren stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I think that it was over sensationalized. A lot of it was really over sensationalized. And therefore I have a harder time letting go when I watch those movies and suspending disbelief because of the other stuff surrounding it.
The true story.
Right, correct. Like I got sucked into the Amityville horror book. And I guess like a lot of that stuff has been like really torn apart.
Yeah.
But I can remember that was one of the books, that and It were two of the books that scared the shit out of me. Like nightmares, couldn't sleep. Type of scared the shit.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if surely it's not, but I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of set the platform, at least, for the whole based on a true story thing.
Well,
which was a complete lie.
Right. See, and that's the other thing. Like, there's a lot of movies like that.
Right. But Amityville was one of those movies that, you know, and book where I think 90% of the reason it was as successful and known was because everybody thought it was like real.
Right. They thought it was a true story. And when you see true story on a movie, like take it with a fucking grain of salt.
Yeah. True story. This is a movie.
True story. They took some liberties. Okay. So Charles Rubichung in the chat room has asked, have you guys read the book that inspired the movie Pet Sematary? I wouldn't say that it inspired the movie Pet Sematary. It pretty much just
story
is the movie Pet Sematary. But yes, I read Pet Sematary when I was a teenager. I absolutely love the book. The book is incredible. I'm a huge Stephen King fan anyway.
Yeah, I know people are like critical of the guy,
Yeah,
and like,
you have to go with it.
yeah,
Stephen King's one of those things where if you can't just go with him on his journey, you're not going to make it.
he's like, I mean, not only is he my favorite author, but he's the inspiration behind pretty much everything I've ever written
Right. That's cool.
and like conceptualized, but never made it anywhere.
Right.
His way of getting a story across to where it speaks to everybody, that's not an easy thing to do. I mean, being able to make it where no matter who reads it, they're going to understand it and be scared by it, or, you know, get that feeling or whatever. And I don't know. It's just always worked for me.
Well, the thing that I love about Stephen King is he has the ability to relay the New England accent in print.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't do it. But he had a way of doing it early on that just really it definitely it worked. And to go back to the question in the chat room about, you know, have I seen, you know, seen Pet Sematary? I saw the original Pet Sematary. I thought that the original Pet Sematary was okay. As far as being, you know, a screenplay movie of the book. Now I watched the trailer for the new one. Oh my dear God. Just horrible. Like, I don't, at least they got, who was it? Was it Fred Gwynn
I think so.
in the original Pet Sematary movie?
Yeah.
So they got John Lithgow now. And at least Fred Gwynn brought a fucking Maine accent to the thing. I mean, because you guys have heard me talk. Sometimes I slip my accent. It goes away and it comes back. Some people say it's thicker when I talk about other things. I don't know. But Fred Gwynn, there's a line in the movie where he says, "Sometimes dead is better," which is the proper way to say it if you're from this area.
Oh,
Steve, I swear to fucking Christ. So in the new trailer, Lithgow is like, "Sometimes dead is better."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, it's not. So I have issue with the new movie, and it looks like it's in a completely different direction, which I don't like.
I don't like the masks. I don't like.
Yeah, there's so much about the trailer that just makes me go, no.
And I'm not going to be hating this. And really, it's not going to come across like I intended. But I'm going to say it anyway. You don't have to put a little girl in there just to put a little girl in there.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion anyway.
Yeah. So it just, the whole thing just. So,
I mean, in my mind, if you're going to remake a classic movie, no matter what it is, I want to see it just be a remake with using modern techniques and abilities.
Right. Yeah. But however, sometimes, and we were talking about this earlier, before the show, I believe. I don't think we talked about this on here, but that sometimes reimagining the story, changing the story can work.
Yeah.
You know, but if it's a solid remake, then just remake it. You know, do it. And, you know, make it look better, make it, you know, try to make it creepier by the way you film it or whatnot. But sometimes changing the story can work. Now, a lot of people are up in fucking arms about the new Child's Play. Because the new Child's Play is not about a possessed doll. It's about a doll with artificial intelligence that goes crazy and starts killing people. Which I can buy way more
Yeah.
than a possessed doll that eventually falls in love with Jennifer Tilly and has a baby.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Child's Play.
Yeah, Steve, don't go down this rabbit hole. You and your wife will be watching movies for fucking months to come.
The original Child's Play, I believe, how I've always taken it, was you take that genre of movies. Sorry, Steve. That genre of movies that we talked about where the B movies became popular in the video stores.
Mm-hmm.
And then they made a big budget movie out of those concepts.
Yes. And they did it a lot.
Yeah.
You know, they literally just threw money like a motherfucker at that shit.
And still, to this day, I will never understand how anybody be frightened, murdered by all.
You're breaking
There's
up.
literally when
You're
they
breaking up
act-
like wicked again, Matt.
Jesus Christ! I rebooted everything. My system must be possessed or something.
I think your system is possessed.
Doesn't
But
like
are
me.
you saying that? Because I'm trying to get the gist of what you were saying. Based
Just
on
Chucky?
what?
Oh my
All I
God!
heard was Chucky.
The horror guys want me to say it.
Yeah. So
I just never. Nobody just like grabbed Chucky and like threw him in a fire or something. He's a doll.
right. How the fuck did this thing? Yeah.
Just punt him. They literally did in one movie.
Yeah. And it's a lot of times with this stuff, you definitely have to suspend disbelief. Now, the new movie, A Quiet Place, which Matt has not seen, Steve has not seen. I am going to try like hell not to spoil this movie for you.
You can spoil it for me.
Steve, you I don't give a shit about. Matt's on the show.
No.
So, I loved A Quiet Place. It was, it's a movie about a family that is trying to survive in like this post-apocalyptic world where aliens have come down or something, but these aliens can only hear. They can't see anything. But this is where I had the problem with it. And I've heard this from other people, but yet I was able to suspend disbelief with it. They just stayed quiet to avoid the things. Now, if these things can hear as amazingly as it shows that they can, they would have been able to hear the people breathing, their heartbeat. Like it. So in that sense, I had to suspend the disbelief that these things would have been able to hear them anyway. But the movie was amazing. Like,
Were
for
you
me,
able to suspend belief that it was Jim Halpert's family? That's where I would have the hang up. Like, shouldn't he be like letting out like sarcastic quips here and there? Like,
yeah. No, I totally went into it, and there's a scene at the end of the movie, and I won't give anything away, but I will throw myself completely under the bus and say that it made me cry like crazy. Like it's really touching.
We're going to have to end our friendship now.
Yeah, well, you know.
Has somebody been in contact with authorities in Maine? Is everybody okay?
Yeah, no, it there's just, hey, and for the record, motherfucker, I cried at the end of Logan.
You know
She
what?
wasn't fucking daddy.
I'm going to be honest with you. I cried at the end of Voyager
All right,
because
now,
they made it home.
No, Steve. Seriously, now we can't be friends.
I didn't cry. I mean, no tears actually came out, but I got a little choked up. They made it home.
But a Quiet Place is it. I thought it was a great story. I think they could have. I think they should have elaborated a little more about the aliens, or they should have done something a little different. Because, like I said, I was able to suspend disbelief with it. However, it is a plot hole for me in looking back on it, because I watched it a second time with my son recently, and yeah, it's definitely a plot hole, but great movie, and John Krasinski is awesome in it, so I recommend it. Ta-da! So
A recommendation.
oh yeah, another thing. Somebody brought up earlier in the chat room, and I didn't catch it when we were talking about something else. But Children of the Corn.
Oh yeah, come on.
Mother fucker.
Does it even need to be said?
Listen, I drove through some sections of the country when I was younger,
Shit is real, dog.
and I'm just like, no, we don't stop here. I don't care.
My grandparents that raised me, we had a lake house growing up, and on the way there was a Mennonite farm that sold, bread and cheese and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And every now and then we would stop there and buy some stuff. I wouldn't get out of the car. I would see those kids standing out there staring at me in my fancy automobile. And I was just like, no, man, not happening.
And that fucking redheaded kid.
Like, don't come near me, Jebediah.
Fucking movie is great. I mean, it's one of those movies where it doesn't. If I was to watch it now, it would not scare me literally as much as it did then.
Right.
But the story it's fucking creepy shit.
Well, it did something that, no other movie had accomplished before, in my opinion. Oh, you don't think kids can be scary?
Yeah.
We can make kids a threat.
Yeah, definitely. And another Stephen King vehicle.
Yeah.
Based on a Stephen King short story. What'd you think of here's a flashback movie. Speaking of Stephen King movies, Matt. Maximum Overdrive.
Love it. Not because
Emilio
it's scary.
Estevez.
It's comedy to me.
The only Estevez, by the way, that uses his real name.
What amazes me about Maximum Overdrive, the movie, the semi truck that has the goblin on the front.
Yes.
They didn't get permission from Marvel to use that.
Really?
Yeah, they just did it, and nothing ever happened. There's no tells of lawsuits or anything, because I researched it a little bit, because I was like,
I wonder if Marvel,
how the hell did they put the Green Goblin right in the middle of that movie the whole time?
I wonder if Marvel just loved the fact that it was out there.
Maybe so.
They were just like, listen, this is fucking free publicity.
And it came out during the time where they were really pushing Spider-Man.
Wow. Interesting.
I thought so.
Will in the chat room, sorry. Why would you bring up 4 Past Midnight? That's a book.
Never saw that movie.
I mean, I think The Langoliers is in there, which became a miniseries, but it's horrible. It's awful.
What about Under the Dome?
I never watched Under the Dome.
Oh, man. It was bad.
Nope, never watched Under the Dome. I had heard a lot of people tell me that it was great, and I couldn't. I think I just had too many shows going on at that time that I just couldn't fit it in.
I did not enjoy it, and apparently neither did a lot of other people since they canceled it.
Yeah. I still haven't checked out. I want to check out the Hill House. What was
The
that?
Haunting of Hill
Haunting of
House.
Hill House on Netflix.
Oh my
I
God.
watched that.
Is it good?
You watched it, Steve.
I did. It was all
Wow.
right. It was all right.
It was all right. Okay. It's one of the best representations
Listen. I
of
want
a
to
ghost
before
story.
you get into it. I just have one question because of the trailer.
Mhm.
Is their house a very, very, very fine house? Fine house.
Very, very, very fine house.
Okay.
I
Actually,
didn't see any cats in the yard.
Okay.
I have to admit that I only watched half of it.
Oh my God, Steve.
Fuck, man.
Oh my God.
No,
The story doesn't even make sense until the last few episodes.
Matt, this is everything with him.
Oh my God.
I saw a Bigfoot once. I heard him.
It's not in my name. It's not in my genre, as you would say. I don't like it. I don't like those sorts of.
How did you make it French?
I'm going to start saying Genry from here on out. Or just Ginner. Or just Boogle Fart. Okay? Boogle Fart's the new genre.
Fuck me. Okay, so Haunting of Hill House. Continue.
It was all right.
It blew my mind. It's okay. It's slow. It's very slow.
Yeah.
But it's telling a story and it has to tell it that way.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, we're talking, I would say I would compare it to, I can't compare it to anything, but as far as like the effect that it had, think, American Horror Story or whatever, the first season. But that was. But to me, it has
You
like
broke up when you were saying that
oh,
last thing.
jeez.
I know it's a pain in the ass, man.
I did watch the first season of American Horror Story.
Okay.
I like that. That was good.
See, now there's another one that I haven't seen.
I think this is doing the same thing that it did, except I think this is better. I think it will change the way that television series will tell ghost stories and horror stories. Like people are going to copy this.
The Haunting of Hill House.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the trailer for it, I was in, but I just haven't had the time to like take it in, to sit down and watch it. Because I'm pretty sure if I sit down and watch it, I'm not gonna want to stop. Like I'm gonna want to plow through the whole thing.
Keep in mind, I mean, obviously we're doing the show. I'm a fan of the horror genre. I'm a huge fan of the haunting genre, boogle farts, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I saw where they've never done it like this before. This was an original idea, an original concept. Not the fact that the house is haunted or anything like that. Just one specific part of it is something that I had never seen before that just, made my mind pop.
Like I said, I'm in. I want to watch it. I just haven't had the time to sit down and watch the whole thing.
And for Steve's benefit, it is based on an old book that's very expensive and popular now.
I'll have to look for that one.
Yeah. So,
I mean, like you said, it was slow. It started out really slow, and I'm like, ugh. So I didn't finish it. My wife did, though. She enjoys that kind of thing.
It was actually written by author Shirley Jackson.
I don't know her.
Yeah.
Don't know Shirley Jackson. Nope. But to get back to Stephen King, let's talk a little It.
Okay.
The mini series to the. Have you seen the new one?
No.
What the fuck, dude? You've seen the original miniseries.
The original.
I'm assuming you've read the book.
No.
No, and Stephen King is one of your favorite authors.
Yeah, but he screwed up with this one.
Fuck off.
Well.
All right, lay it out. Listen, ruin it for me like fucking Face Off got ruined for me when I really thought it was good.
No, it won't ruin it. It's just I understand why he did it.
Okay.
But for me personally, clowns, I'm out. Not because I'm afraid of them, because I don't understand. I mean, they're not scary to me. They're just not.
Okay, here's the thing. It's not the clown that's scary. It's not the clown that's scary. The clown is the pretty face of the creature. It's like the thing that lures the little thing in.
Yeah, I get it.
That's
John Wayne Gacy. Yeah, I understand. But it just doesn't. It doesn't.
And that is, I love that story. I can't remember the exact line.
And then at one point, doesn't he like turn into a giant spider or something?
At the end, it's different in the book. It's different in the book.
Well, because of the original movie, I never read the book.
I wouldn't read the book based on the original movie either. It was horribly acted. It was, ugh. I understood what was going on, but I didn't like it.
Chris is trying not to lose it on us, Steve.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Can't be a fan of everything, even if it's the same guy.
I understand, like, if you put a group of kids together in a Stephen King movie and you have anything subpar to Stand By Me, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, the original, you're talking about the original miniseries.
Yes.
Okay, the original miniseries is horrible with the exception of Tim Curry.
But okay,
listen, the original miniseries is only worth watching. I'm saying it's shit, but it's worth watching for Tim Curry's performance.
I am a huge Tim Curry fan, but if it wasn't in clown makeup, like if he just showed us Tim Curry, like only whenever no parent adults were around, like that I would have been to. But
you'd be into pedophile Tim Curry
or a creepy clown.
Oh, here's the thing.
Not about white with the orange wig.
It's like, but that's the thing. It's not about the creature. I mean the clown. It's about the creature and what the creature, because the creature shows you your fears. Eventually, the clown is a vessel, and in the new one. I absolutely love the new one. I thought that what is his name? Skarsgård did a great job playing Pennywise. I liked all the kids that they chose. The issue that I had with the new It, because I read the book and I've seen the original miniseries, and I know the story. In the book, whenever Richie, because Richie's an asshole who Richie's like me. He always just says like inappropriate shit, and he's trying to make him laugh, and he's always just saying outlandish shit. So they always say beep beep Richie, which is basically like shut the fuck up, Richie.
Right.
And in the movie, not a single kid says it to him through the whole movie. But when he has his encounter with Pennywise says, beep, beep, Richie. There's no fucking reference for it. Now, while I love the movie, love the new It, I love that they modernized it. I love that they took it in a different direction while yet keeping the story the same. Because here's the interesting thing about the original It story. If you haven't read the book, spoiler alert, I'm going to ruin this part of it for you. When they are kids and they defeat Pennywise down in the sewers, after they're done, they feel like they have to all bond somehow. So they all decide that they're going to fuck Beverly. So basically, they run a train on young Beverly. That is in the original. The fucking.
Whenever I was a kid, a way to bond.
Matt, we couldn't catch most of that, Matt.
It was.
Oh no, you caught it all. I just didn't finish it. I'm not gonna go down the Baron Boy route like Steve does.
What?
No, so they literally they take turns having sex with Beverly. Like she's the only girl in the bunch, and you know, I mean, every time I would like because I'd read the book before the original miniseries came out, and I still had a fucking sick sense of humor back then. Like I was, and I said today, I said they ain't gonna fucking put that in there.
No,
Nobody's got the balls to put that fucking scene in those movies.
Not back then. They couldn't.
They couldn't today. You fucking kidding
Sure
me?
they could.
No.
but I mean, defeating Pennywise as a group, isn't that enough of a bonding experience? To me, it makes me, that's one of those things where I kind of,
Hey, listen.
I praised him earlier, but Steven, what the fuck were you thinking about?
I don't know, but that when I read that, I mean, I can remember reading it as a kid and going, "Huh?
Yeah. Like, do what?
What?" But yeah, and the new, I cannot wait for because they instead of doing what they did with the original miniseries, which for the record is more like the book swaps between the past and the present. The new movies just did the past, and then the movie that's coming out that they're filming now is just going to be the present, the kids as adults going back to defeat Pennywise. But I cannot wait because the actors that they've chosen, the way that the new movie came off, and was definitely it was great. They captured the one thing that they captured perfectly was the very beginning of the movie when Georgie is taking his little boat down the road. It's raining because Bill, makes him the little boat out of the newspaper and puts the paraffin wax on the bottom, and he goes and floats it down the road, and it goes down into the sewer, and then Pennywise comes up and talks to him.
What does he say, Chris?
He says, "We all float down here, Georgie. We all float.
Yeah.
Would you like a balloon?" Yeah. And I thought it was perfect. Like it came off perfectly like it's written in the book. That whole opening scene to that movie. So I absolutely loved it.
I'll tell you what I'm most looking forward to.
What's that? The end of the show?
Stories.
Scary stories.
Yeah, scary stories to tell in the dark.
Scary stories to tell in the dark.
The books.
The books. I don't know this one.
Huh?
Don't know this one.
What?
Don't know this one.
Oh,
Inform me, motherfucker.
I can't.
Okay.
Now I can't do it.
Okay. Can you send me a link?
Yeah, but it won't matter. I mean,
Well, it's something I can look into in the future, right?
sure.
All right. I'm sorry.
And they're also going to bring back a Creep Show as a television series, I believe.
Oh, that's one we can get into is fucking Creep Show.
Yeah.
Creep Show was the shit. Totally dated, by the way. Extremely dated. The special effects on the monsters is like, oh my God, that's fucking hilarious. I can't believe that scared me when I was a kid. But, and then Creep Show 2. Oh.
What happened?
Oh.
What happened?
Oh. Stephen King, tell me you didn't fucking put your word behind that one. Oof. That was rough because Creep Show was such a big part of horror movies of my youth. When Creep Show 2 came out, I was like, oh, we got to see this in the theater. So I went and saw it in the theater, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? But you know what was a great homage to Creep Show? was Tales from the Dark Side.
Yeah.
That was a cool movie. And if I'm going to go my favorite story out of that whole movie, it's the Gargoyles.
That was a good one.
That one fucking If you've never seen Tales from the Dark Side, check it out.
But seriously, you really haven't heard of scary stories to tell in the dark.
No, I have not.
Okay, well, when we were kids, there was this book that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Called
Goosebumps?
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And it was children's horror.
Yeah.
But taken to a whole new level that kids should not have been allowed to read. Not because they had like adult situations or anything, just because the stories were so freaking scary and gruesome and graphic, and they were amazing. And they had an illustrator, I can't remember his name, but he's great, and like his illustrations were just creepy looking. And there was a second book called More Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I thought they were classics that everybody was aware of, but they're turning it into a movie and like taking the stories and integrating them into the storyline of the movie. And it's going to be amazing.
I'll check it out.
Hopefully.
I'll definitely check that shit out.
It looks good so far.
Now, you just brought something back to my memory for a moment when you were talking about when we were younger and the stuff that was out there. And inappropriate stuff for kids to read. I can remember I was a wicked bookworm, always have been. And I went to the library. I was in junior high school. So we're talking, 12, 13. And I go into the library and I find this book. It's called The Satanic Mill. Sure you're not. It's fiction.
Hardy Boys?
Yeah. The Hardy Boys and the Satanic
Case
Mill.
of the Satanic Mill.
So I read this book and it is about these fucking kids that get taken to this fucking mill, and like this guy like tortures them and teaches them magic and like makes them fucking kill each other. It's fucking brutal. I loved it. But totally like, but I was never like censored when I was a kid about any of the stuff that I read. They would on stuff I would watch to a degree. Like they wouldn't let me go too crazy sometimes, but a lot of times I could slip and pass the goalie because I'd just go rent the movies and they wouldn't know. But yeah, I mean, that book was just fucking brutal, and you just brought it to my attention just thinking of that, bringing up that scary stories thing.
I wasn't allowed to watch the Smurfs when I was a kid.
What?
True story.
Steve, elaborate. I will let you derail the show right now because that is the most asinine thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's like saying like I wasn't allowed to watch Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Sesame Street was acceptable most of the time.
The Sesame Street is far more edgy than the Smurfs ever were.
No, the Smurfs, they cast spells and things, and my parents didn't care for that.
No, an evil wizard cast spells.
Or whatever. But it was
tries to and fails miserably. It's kind of like the coyote chasing the roadrunner.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Papa Smurf makes the potions, dude.
And then when you get a little bit older, it was
out of mushrooms.
Because Bart was disrespectful to his dad, that sort of thing. I grew up in a very conservative home.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It doesn't show, Steve.
No?
No.
And that's the reason I didn't watch many horror flicks when I was a kid.
It doesn't show.
Because you were living in Children of the Corn.
Yeah.
My uncle would let me watch Elvira at night, on what was it, Saturday nights, Friday nights? Yeah. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. So we watched a lot of that.
How much pre-cum was in your pants?
Crappy,
all she did was host horror movies, Steve.
Right.
So you should have seen a lot of horror movies. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, but they were the crappy ones, like
976 Evil.
He fell asleep after he jerked off to a fucking
Attack of the Mushroom Men and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Mushroom tip.
Yeah.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes. That's the kind of horror movies I grew up with.
Didn't they have like pie guns?
I don't
Yeah, I
remember.
think so.
It's been so many years. And then Amityville Horror, my uncle had us watch, but I wasn't scared by it. But other than that, I really,
What scares you, Steve? I gotta know. What scares Steve Alcorn?
Doing
Do
this
you
show.
still hear the lambs, Steve?
I'm not a big fan of heights.
Do you think that if you catch Bill?
I think that's the thing about horror movies, though. If they find a way to take something that you're afraid of and put a different skin on it where you don't recognize it,
You mean
I think that's when they really accomplish frightening you.
made you laugh.
I was only ever scared by one movie in my entire life, and it wasn't a horror movie. So,
Yeah. Would you? Fucking love that movie. I rewatched that recently.
the movie The Road, I think it was called. That one scared the shit out of me.
The Road?
Yeah, that scared
About
the shit out of me.
about the post-apocalyptic movie?
Yeah, because when it came
The movie about the post-apocalyptic. That was a great movie.
It was a great movie, and it was filmed locally, by the way. But the reason it scared
And they
me
didn't
was
clear off any streets or anything.
Yeah, they
there.
just went through Cleveland.
No, actually, in Pennsylvania. But anyway, the reason it scared me is because I was a single dad raising a kid at the same age as the kid in that movie, and I'm thinking, oh my God, we'd be the first to die, because I
Lone
don't
wolf
know
and
any of
cub.
this shit. So that's why that movie scared me.
What was your first clue that you'd be the first ones to die, Steve?
Well, because I don't know how to do
Was it your steady diet
Why do
of
you think you would
McDonald's?
survive the
mac and
initial
cheese?
apocalyptic event? Like,
well.
why do you think
I
you
might,
were a survivor, Steve?
But I might have, because it's my luck, Matt. I would survive the initial event because of my luck, my bad luck. But anyway, that's the only, and I guess in a way that was kind of a horror movie if you think about it, for certain people like me.
I could see how you would equate that to like a horror scenario.
But now, if you think about it, though, I'm a single father at the time. We live in a one-room apartment. Not, we didn't have anything, and I got a kid the same age as the kid in that movie, and it was so realistic and probable if that sort of event happened. That's why it scared me. Realistic.
Well, Steve, interestingly enough, there was a day that I was with my mom as a little kid, and we were on our way somewhere, and the car broke down, and we had to walk quite a ways on. Huh?
To cop some drugs.
No, we had to walk. Well, actually, it could have been, knowing my mother. Anyways, we had to walk quite a ways. The car ran out of gas was the problem. So we had to get to a gas station on foot. It's like summer. It's hot. I'm miserable. Anyways. So that night, my mom was a horror movie fan, and she had always let me watch horror movies and stuff. That particular night's cinema was Cujo. Now, I already had a healthy fear of large dogs because of situations I had been in as a child. And my mom's car was a yellow Pinto.
My dad had a Pinto.
And we had broken down that day. And then we're watching Cujo. And I'm just like, what's going on here?
It's a great movie.
It is.
Fun fact, the froth on his mouth is like maple syrup. Yeah, in the movie, the dog that they, in order to get him to look like he was rabid, they use maple syrup.
And they did an excellent job.
Yeah, come out great.
What's going on with the car? Is that Carrie?
Carrie.
Yeah, I seen that when I was a kid.
Yeah, Carrie's
kind of scared me a little bit.
Carrie is a cool movie.
Yeah, it was
Which
good
one?
back in the day.
What's that?
What?
Oh, Christine. Sorry, he got me
Christine,
saying
I'm sorry.
Carrie. Christine.
Carrie is
God
with
damn
the
it.
girl at the school.
They're all going to laugh at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I seen that one
They
too.
throw all the
That one was
tampons at her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another
See,
one.
I never got into Carrie. That was one I never got into. I never saw the movie.
Christine scared me a little bit.
Yeah,
Because as a kid, you think, man, could a car really do that? You know?
No, it couldn't.
no.
But you
You would just pull the battery, flatten the tires. Like there's
right.
lots of things you can do to immobilize a car.
It's not going to
But
start.
I mean, I was a big Herbie fan, so it's possible.
You were a big fan of frogs jumping across the room that don't have any life in them. So,
It's like the evil Herbie.
this doesn't
He's
seem right.
a Herbie fan.
Yeah, that's why. That's why it scared him.
Did you watch the remake with Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
My favorite Herbie movie was the one with the black Herbie, and he was evil.
Why has he got to be evil, Steve?
Yeah. What are you trying to say, Steve? Steve, what are you going down here? I'm very concerned. I'm concerned.
Very hard to find that movie nowadays.
I'm
I
concerned
imagine.
that you're, and it's your favorite.
Herbie. I'm gonna type it in and see if I can.
That kind of bothers me.
I'll be typing that crap in, Steve.
Yeah.
Evil Herbie.
You need to type in diversity, Steve.
That's right. Steve. God. Black Herbie lives matter, Steve.
You're only allowed to watch that movie because you're a privileged white man.
Jesus. It's your fucking white privilege all over the place.
It was Horace.
Your white, wide stance, rest stop privilege.
All right.
Steve, do you
I think
have any?
I'm done being abused for the night.
You and your Jordache jeans. Got him.
Wasn't allowed to wear Jordache.
What the fuck?
They were too expensive.
News, Steve. News.
Oh, news.
News.
Hey, we got a mystery animal. A really bad one, too.
Yeah? Is it a pink thing?
This is from Beaufort County.
Beaufort
Justice. I'm not exactly sure where Beaufort County
Somebody give me a Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper. Make it snappy. I'm in a goddamn hurry.
I should have punched your mama square in the mouth.
This is from WCTI12.com from Pantego in Beaufort County. A Pantego woman is listed in critical condition. She's listed in critical condition after an attack of an unknown animal. The Beaufort County Sheriff's Office said they received a 911 call at 5:47 a.m. about an animal attack on Indian Run Road in Pantego, Beaufort County. EMS and paramedics arrived to find Brenda Hamilton, 77, suffering from severe injuries as a result of the attack. Now, here's where it gets weird.
Creepy, if you will.
A little creepy.
Where's Beaufort County?
I don't know. Beaufort.
You're not saying the state.
It doesn't say what state it's in.
Oh,
I'm going to type it in. I'll look it up if
you keep talking. You work on the story.
You check it out. This is do your own news, Matt.
A preliminary DNA test.
We present you the
news.
Oh,
I know where it's at.
No, we present you the news like IKEA gives you your fucking furniture.
It's in North Carolina. I got it.
Beaufort. Beaufort.
North Carolina.
Not Buford.
No, I said with a T.
Yeah, that's why we're making Beaufort T Justice references.
Investigators from the Sheriff's Office, along with North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission officers and biologists, responded to the scene to investigate what kind of animal attacked Hamilton.
I asked him what state this was one sentence prior to them telling what state it was in the article. This is proof that he does not read the fucking articles before he reads them.
And
I did.
He has so little forward thought, Matt, that his eyes didn't catch North Carolina, which if you or I looked at the page probably would have seen.
No, there's an advertisement between those two sentences. It's for nature-made purified vitamin fish.
For North Carolina farms.
A preliminary DNA test facilitated by the North Carolina wildlife biologist eliminated any wild animals indigenous to the area.
Steve, do we have to take a trip to North Carolina now?
I just was
Maybe we can stop and see an old friend.
I didn't see this mystery animal. So anyway, they don't know what it was. It attacked her. Yep, that was it. That's probably Bigfoot.
Hence the term mystery animal.
Well, they didn't say that. I did. That was my addition
Huh.
to the story.
Sort
This
of like,
is according.
sort of like the meat that you eat. It's a mystery.
This is. I have to put a disclaimer in this one. This is from a very conservative website, from cnsnews.com, very Christian conservative website. So,
Oh.
you know,
What do you
Melania, is that Melania?
Oh my dear fucking
I don't
God.
know how to pronounce her name. Melania.
Oh,
President Trump's wife.
Melania.
Oh, that's it. Melania.
You don't know how to pronounce the first lady of the United States' name?
Well, she doesn't have a easy to pronounce name.
Melania isn't.
It's like
Oh my
Barbara.
It's literally vernacularly the same, Steve.
Matt, I guarantee you, if you tell him the correct pronunciation while you send him pictures of her naked, he will get it.
I just, he was butchering it so bad, I didn't even know who the fuck he was talking about for a second.
I know, Matt.
The
I know.
first lady.
The only reason I was able to, in my mind, come to the conclusion that he was talking about the first lady was the fact that I've been doing the show with him solid for almost 6 years now.
Melania Trump, who, being the first lady, would never pose naked, I'm sure, demanded spiritual cleansing of the White House and removal of pagan and demonic idols. While commenting on President Donald Trump, I said Donald right, didn't I? Very public support for Christianity as well, blah, blah, blah. Paul Bigley, who is some pastor somewhere, said the First Lady Melania Trump demanded that the White House be spiritually cleansed and the pagan and demonic items and artifacts from the Obama and Clinton years be removed.
I'm going to have to say this calls for a fact check.
You gonna Snopes this one, Matt?
I'm going to have to. I mean,
Melania Trump reportedly said, "I'm not going into that White House unless it's been completely exorcised," according to Pastor Bailey.
They didn't exercise
thing was-
the White House. The power of Christ compels you.
I mean, there's lots of people that have the belief that you spiritually cleanse a place whenever you move into it, a new home, regardless. It's just
Right.
a thing. But the part about removing pagan and demonic artifacts, I just don't think the White House was chock full of those whenever they moved in, specifically from the Obama and Clinton administrations.
He continued to say that because apparently during the 8 years when Obama was there, and maybe even some of the presidents before him, there were all kinds of idol gods and images and all kinds of artifacts in there that were demonic, even some of the stuff from the Clinton era, because they were really tied in with the Haitians.
It really says that?
It really says that.
Like the Clintons literally stole millions of dollars from the Haitians. And okay, I'm not trying to get political. Anyways, no, they're not tight with the Haitians.
I can tell you, you can read the Serpent and the Rainbow story. Hey, we've talked about that one, and find out just how much Haitian witch doctor influence was on Bill and Hillary Clinton's lives, Pastor Bailey said.
Alan.
Oh, they constantly went back. They spent their honeymoon with a witch doctor.
Huh?
I think you need to fact check this story, man.
Their honeymoon? That was like years ago. And like so Donald Trump was just like cool with like hanging out with a witch doctor on his honeymoon.
Wait a minute, their honeymoon was the Serpent and the Rainbow? Fucking
what it
Bill was fucking Bill Pullman?
Oh boy. Oh, I'm gonna go to the next story. It's from our old friend Lon Stripper.
Dr. Allen, you don't seem to be doing anything with your ugly wife.
That's not my wife.
Oh, Lord.
What you got, Steve?
Oh, from our old friend Lon Strickler.
Lon.
And
Lonnie boy.
monsters.com. He says he recently received a telephone call from a witness in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Ah.
He states that
Spartanburg.
he was confronted by an 8.5 foot tall bear
Is
while he was preparing to go duck hunting at Sumter National Forest in 2015.
You know what gets me? That nowhere, it doesn't matter. Any place in the United States, if you experience something unexplainable, some unknown creature, some event, whether it be Bigfoot, chupacabra, aliens, it doesn't matter. The crazier, the better. Somehow everyone knows to call Lon Strickler.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he gets stuff every day. A witness called me reporting that a alien spontaneously combusted at the foot of their bed. Why? Why would they call him? How would they even know about him?
News.
His website's not even big. It's not popular.
Lon won't go for the potty language, will he?
No.
Fuck.
That fucking pansy. Fuck him. Don't you ever say a story.
I mean, I respect him as a content creator.
Are you saying that Lon Strickler is making this shit up? Is that
No, I can't say that because I honestly don't know. I just find it amazing that all these people, how did he become so well known and widespread? Like,
you're jealous. That's what
I am jealous. I am absolutely. I've been asking people to send me their cryptid encounter stories for months, and I've gotten none. And I would like to think I'm more out there.
No,
than Lon Strickler.
You know, you've been in the Washington Post and all that stuff, and
I'm a Bigfoot expert, Steve.
Yeah, but people are scared to approach you. That's what it is.
I requested.
Lon should be jealous of you.
I don't know Lon's phone number. If I saw a fairy in my backyard fighting with a gnome tomorrow, I would not have Lon Strickler's phone number to call.
Matt,
but this person that you're currently reading about knew Lon Strickler's phone number personally and contacted him, or knew to contact him, or looked it up on Google. Who should I contact? And Lon Strickler was the first thing that came up.
Yeah. Duh.
Sorry, I question things. I should stop.
I am looking at his website and I'm not finding his.
It's very rude of me. Monsters and Phantoms. .blogspot.com/Lon Strickler.
Now that I've trashed the man, let's promote his website.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
Phantoms and Monsters, not Monsters and Phantoms, and it's not Blogspot, it's just .com.
Oh.
But just to clear
congratulations on the domain purchase.
It was approximately 5 a.m. and still dark.
Wow.
The witness was removing his hunting equipment from the trunk of his vehicle. His back was facing the trail when he heard a low guttural growling sound emanating from behind him. He stood up straight and turned. This is when he noticed a tall, dark mass standing on the trail. He grabbed his flashlight and observed an 8.5 foot, hairy, human-like being. Then he
some of those outdoor. Well, no.
He referred to as Bigfoot. The being was looking directly at him and growling. He was less than 50 feet from the creature. The witness did have his shotgun with him, but realized that birdshot would probably not offer much protection. Fortunately, the Bigfoot slowly turned and walked back into the swamp area of the forest. He was asked if he noticed any odor, which he stated that he hadn't. The witness had been searching for the Bigfoot ever since that encounter.
Are you saying skunk ape, Steve?
The witness told Lon that he has been told of other encounters in the area.
Was the witness asked how the fuck he got Lon's number and didn't end up contacting the BFRO instead?
Maybe Lon didn't get a phone call. Maybe he called the guy, left a message, and then the guy called back.
Well, now see that I can buy into.
I'm going to do, by the way, that is the news, but I'm going to type in Google right now and see if I can find Lon Strickler's phone number.
But why would you know to look up Lon Strickler's phone number?
I don't know.
Like, pretend you're a witness to something strange. Pick anything, because Lon reports everything.
He does.
Okay.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, he has people reporting like all kinds of stuff, not just Bigfoot.
Mhm.
Lon Strickler's phone number is 410.
Hey, oh, whoa, no, Steve, no.
He posted it on Twitter.
I don't care. It's illegal. Don't do it.
Yeah. Let's
That
keep
app's
that off
free.
air. If you want to find it, you can go to Twitter.
I'm just saying, type in Google, I saw Bigfoot. Who do I contact?
Okay.
Lon Strickler.
Big
Matt, why don't you know this?
I should.
witness.
I mean, come on.
And I do enjoy his website. I do enjoy reading the articles and stuff.
Okay.
Like Penthouse?
Yeah.
I typed in Bigfoot witness report. Is that good enough?
Okay.
Sure.
Steve.
Bigfoot Eyewitness Radio, Amazon.com, Bigfoot Witness, a book by Thomas Markham. Bigfoot peeking a window leaves witness frozen. Let's see, Lon.
What else you got, Steve?
Animal Planet, Times, Fox News. No, nothing. Not under that search.
That's too bad, Steve. So, Steve, is that it? Is that everything?
I think so.
Are you done?
But it was easy to find Lon's number.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that you're on the fucking case, Steve.
I saw Bigfoot.
What?
Who do I call? That's what Matt told me. Type in.
Oh my god.
Okay. Bigfoot.
Anyhow.
Washington Post is the first thing that comes up.
My article.
Well, no, Bigfoot sighting in North Carolina.
So before we wrap up the show, I made a post on the Fortean Slip like page. We are going to be offering a T-shirt. I'm trying to get an idea of how many people are interested in this T-shirt. Matt and I have done some preliminary mock-ups of what we want to do. I haven't made a final decision yet. I'm gonna post some of the pictures in the Fortean Slip on the Fortean Slip like page, and if you guys could give me as much feedback as possible, that's great. I've heard from like maybe friggin' 3 people on the like page, about anything, but like other people are like, oh yeah, but nobody's giving me anything on the fucking page. So if you guys could, give me your input, what you like. I'm gonna try to pick the site that I'm gonna go through, because I'm gonna have them made so that you guys can just order them. That's the way it works, right, Matt? Yeah.
But you got to have an idea of how many people want them,
Right. And I need
people need to speak up and let you know.
Don't be silent. Let me know so that way I can put in like a number. And if we go above it, that's fine. But I just want to be able to put in like a number of what I can expect to be able to get rid of. So I like the designs that Matt and I have come up with. I just haven't made a final decision yet. It's been a bitch for me to like lock in on something. Mostly because really until you see it on the shirt and see a shirt, it's going to be really hard to make a decision, to go, that's perfect. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly what we want to put on there for a design. It's probably going to be the most recent show picture, which is the one we use for the YouTube channel shows, which has
or a version thereof.
Right.
I mean, how long have you had the show now?
Oh God, it was 5 years in August.
Yeah. So see, I mean, you're going on your 6th year. You've got listeners that have been listening the whole time.
And there's some people that they want them. They're definitely out there.
Well, I think more people want them than you realize. I mean,
right. And I think that with the design that we've chosen, if there are other people that see it, might be like, oh, that just looks kind of cool. You know, because there are
Yeah,
people
but
who buy
I mean,
shit like they don't even know what it's fucking involved with. You know, they did that with like hats for the longest time.
yeah, but you're doing this as like a limited release type thing, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Unless it sells really well, then we'll do
Yeah, and we'll do it again.
it. Yeah.
Well, if I was to, but for the record, like if I was to do it again, I'd use different artwork.
Right.
So,
Well,
and
put me down for one.
for one,
One.
okay, Steve, I got you down for one. So, yeah. So if you guys can just jump on the like page when I post that artwork and let me know what you think. I already did put one post up there about the idea that I wanted to do, that I was throwing around the idea, trying to come up with, you know, some figures, some numbers. But yeah. So if you guys can give me your input, that would be great. I'd like to see where we're gonna wind up. And as you know, my inside joke of the day. No, I'm not gonna do it.
is that a thing?
No, I was going to say something for a good friend of ours, but I'm not gonna
Do it.
No, Steve, I'm
Who's
gonna
the friend?
I'm gonna tease it.
Is it a friend of mine?
Yes, it's a friend of ours.
A friend of the Wizard of Oz?
It's a friend of ours.
I mean, how good a friend?
He's a friend who
Of ours.
may do breakdown videos.
Ah, well then don't say shit.
Yeah.
Bill.
It might make him chuckle though.
You should
So-
say it.
Should I, Steve?
No.
No, we're gonna tease it. We're gonna tease it. At some point, I'm going to, without announcement. That's right. All for Phil.
Oh, you ruined it.
Damn it.
Yeah. All for Phil. Who, by the way, missed his own fucking show last night.
Oh, God.
Yeah, let's go down this road for a second before we fucking.
Yeah, here's an inside joke.
So I've been helping Richard out being on his Squatchable podcast, which is a Bigfoot news show that he does on Saturday nights, generally on Phil's channel at 6 p.m. So
I wondered why it was on your channel.
I'm sitting there because usually right about like 10-15 minutes before 6 o'clock I get the hangout link from Phil or Richard, and I'm getting nothing, and I'm like, what's going on? Nothing. I haven't heard from Phil. What do you mean you haven't heard from Phil? Oh, him and I don't talk. You do a fucking news podcast together. What the fuck do you mean?
That show's gonna last a long time.
So yeah, so I'm like, I messaged Phil, nothing from Phil. I'm like, so what do you want to do? And Richard's like, I don't know. Well, I'm like, well, hey, like I can open up a friggin' live hangout on the Fortean Slip channel, and we can do it on there, and Phil can just download it and put it on his channel. I don't give a shit. So that's what I wound up doing and doing the show. Phil shows up in the last 5 minutes of the show. I get a message on Facebook that literally says, "Oh fuck."
Hey, it's new, Give him a break.
Give Phil a break?
No.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
By the way, I found out how people get Lon Strickler's phone number.
I'm pretty sure you already told us that, Steve.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you said it's on Twitter.
No, how they actually get it.
Uh,
Because I mean, you gotta have followers on Twitter.
yeah.
He pays for Google ads. So if you type in "I saw a Bigfoot" or something like that, his ad comes up.
Ah,
Oh.
I sent a copy to you, Matt.
thanks.
Ooh, investigative reporter.
Well,
Steve Alcorn.
I thought maybe Matt would want to know how to do it the correct way, like Lon does.
Steve Alcorn, he's a fine investigator.
See?
Anywho, on that note, this has been the Fortean Slip, episode 65. Modern horror is child's play. If you like this shit, hit the little thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. leave a comment, people. Get on fucking YouTube and say something. I don't give a shit what you say. Say stink monkey. I don't fucking care. Just
Google
say
fart.
something. Yeah. Yeah. Use that one. What was it again?
Google fart, I think.
Google
Yeah.
fart. Yeah. Put that on there.
Tell me how to pronounce genre.
Yeah. Yeah. School Steve on how to say origin and Matt on how to say genre. And, you
Chris
know,
on how to say Saw.
that's right.
When you
Or
think of Saw movie, you say
give me
Saw. but
shit
when you
about
say
dropping my
Saw,
fucking R's all the time, you know? I can't help it if I park the fucking car. I can't help you. Can't help you. So, yeah, subscribe to this fucking shit. Check out Richard's podcast on Phil's channel. You can check it on our channel this week, too. The Squatchable podcast. And check out his comic strip, Bigfootin' with Keith and Colin, on Facebook. He also has his blog, The Ramblings of a Schizophrenic Brit, mostly all related to Bigfoot. You know, that's Richard's stick. So check out Phil Polling's Para Breakdown channel at youtube.com/Para and check out Matt Knapp at youtube.com/BigfootCrossroads and Cryptid Tales. Last but not least, always check out Dred Funn, the unsung, unspoken member of the Fortean Slip. He's probably done more work than all three of us combined in almost 6 years.
Definitely more than I have.
way more than me.
So, yeah, check out Dred Funn at dredfun.com and youtube.com/Dred Funn, because it is his artwork that will be on the t-shirts.
With his permission.
With his permission. Already worked it out with him. We have had what do you call that? A internet handshake. The deal has been made.
Those usually cost extra.
Yeah. I went for the big bucks there, man.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. And we will be back next week with something to entertain you fucks. Hopefully. And maybe Steve can be involved.
Maybe.
Maybe. See ya!